Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of the 700 Club, and I'm going to ask Terry a question. Who do you think is the #1 producer of oil in the world?
Well, I would say someone in the Middle East, one of the countries in the Middle East. Is it us?
How about deep in the heart of Texas?
Yeah, well,
we are #1 now.
Are we?
Yeah, the United States is #1, and, you know, they have a thing called the Permian. It's out in Texas, and there are fields there that rival or exceed what's in Saudi Arabia.
Really?
And American ingenuity has come forth, and we're now out producing everybody, including Russia, Saudi Arabia, everybody.
Well, that's good news.
Now, it is very good news because we don't have to keep importing all that stuff. So maybe I don't know if we can give Trump the credit, but we can sure give American ingenuity the credit. But anyhow, okay. Now, the president did something that I disagreed with, and Paul Ryan disagreed with, and others, including members of his cabinet, have disagreed with. But he said, I'm going to put tariffs on steel and aluminum. Well, guess what? There's talk now of an international trade war. The European countries say, well, we're going to raise tariffs on automobiles and on agricultural, this, that, and the other. And it looks like a fight over trade may be underway. Well, where? In Washington, between the president and other Republicans.
Well, some Democrats and union leaders support the president's new tariffs, but many Republicans are worried that they could hurt key American industries. Mark Martin has the story.
Despite pressure from Republican allies like House Speaker Paul Ryan, President Trump says he's standing by his plans for international tariffs on steel and aluminum.
No, we're not backing down. People have to understand our country on trade has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world, whether it's friend or enemy. Everybody.
Ryan and others are concerned the tariffs will hurt the economy, which they say is already being helped by the Trump tax cuts. Republicans also wonder what the impact will be on this year's midterm elections. In addition, they're troubled a dangerous trade war is on the horizon if the president goes through with the special import taxes. Trump doubts that outcome.
I don't think so. I don't think you're going to have a trade war now.
The president did say there's a possibility of exempting neighbors Canada and Mexico if they're willing to negotiate a better deal for the U.S. in discussions on the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA.
But if I do make a deal which is fair to the workers and to the American people, that would be, I would imagine, one of the points that we'll negotiate. It will be tariffs on steel for Canada and for Mexico.
Republican leaders of the House Ways and Means Committee sent around a letter opposing Trump's plan, and GOP leaders in Congress hinted they might try to stop the tariffs. But union leaders and Rust Belt Democratic lawmakers like the idea of tariffs, along with Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and White House Trade Advisor Peter Navarro.
We lost $800 billion a year on trade. Not going to happen. We got to get it back.
Meanwhile, Bloomberg reports that sources say White House economic advisor Gary Cohn, who opposes the tariffs, wants executives from American companies that rely on aluminum and steel to meet this week with the president. Even though many analysts are concerned the tariffs could hurt the economy, others are less worried, and some believe the plan may simply be a negotiating tool by Trump to get a better trade agreement for the U.S. But either way, the battle over trade in Washington is not over yet. Mark Martin, CBN News.
Well, thanks, Mark. Well, in other news, it looks like the United States is on its way to becoming, as I said, the #1 producer of something that everybody uses, and that's oil. Wendy Griffith has that.
That's right, Pat. The U.S. will become the top oil producer in the world as soon as this year. That's the prediction from the International Energy Agency. The IEA says the U.S. will overtake Russia to claim the top spot. The energy group says the U.S. will supply enough oil to meet 80% of the growing demand over the next 5 years. And the new oil coming from the U.S. will have an extra benefit for drivers because it should keep prices at the pump from rising, and that's good news, Pat.
Well, it's very good news. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been watching this for some time, and to see the ingenuity, you know, we have all this shale, and shale is kind of like a rock. And what do you do with shale? Well, it holds a lot of oil. It is the seedbed of the oil, but how do you get it out? It took our people a long time to figure it out, But now they have highly sophisticated techniques for getting the oil out. They run these long laterals as much as 2 miles, and they have any number of points where they perforate those laterals, and then they put sand in there. They call that fracking, and they push sand or water under high pressure to break open the shale, and all of a sudden this oil is coming out, and we're producing it. But as I say, the Permian is unbelievable, and it seems to hold more oil than any fields in Saudi Arabia. So the United States is sitting really good, and we've got a president who is encouraging it instead of trying to make it hard. The previous administration did everything they could, it looks like, to make it difficult for American oil men to function. Now, but the new administration says, okay, go get them, boys. And, well, it's a good thing. The United States should be #1, and that's where we are. Well, is it a false signal, or is it the real thing about what's going on in North Korea? Wendy has that story.
Pat, North Korean leader Kim Jong Un has agreed to hold a landmark summit meeting with South Korea's president next month. He says he will impose a moratorium on nuclear and missile tests if his country holds talks with the U.S. That's the word from a senior South Korean official. He says that North Korea has agreed to suspend nuclear and missile tests for as long as it holds talks with the U.S. Well, Iran is a growing threat to Israel. That was a key topic as President Trump met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House Monday. Ben Kennedy brings us that story from Washington.
Iran was no doubt a focus during talks with President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who said that we need to stop this country that chants death to Israel, death to the U.S.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Israel's prime minister joined President Trump at the White House to talk about, among many things, Iran.
If I had to say what is our greatest challenge in the Middle East to both our countries, to our Arab neighbors, it's encapsulated in one word: Iran.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused Iran of aggression along Israel's border and not giving up its nuclear ambitions despite the Iran nuclear deal, an agreement set up by President Obama and other countries and considered a bad deal by many American lawmakers.
Iran must be stopped. That is our common challenge.
And Netanyahu wants Trump to attend the U.S. Embassy opening in Jerusalem, set for May, to tie into the 70th anniversary of the founding of modern Israel.
We're looking at coming. If I can, I will, but I'll be there again. Israel is very special to me, special country, special people, and I look forward to being there, and I'm very proud of that decision.
No decision has been made on the details of a U.S. proposal for peace between Israel and the Palestinians. Jared Kushner's role in brokering a Middle East peace deal came under question in Monday's White House briefing, following his security clearance downgrade.
He doesn't have the security clearance we had.
As we've said many times before, I'm not going to comment on any individual security clearance, but
to carry on duties today in that meeting.
His role wasn't impacted today.
The White House meeting came amid allegations of corruption against Netanyahu, who is facing bribery, fraud, and even trust allegations in Israel. Netanyahu was questioned by police ahead of his trip to Washington, where he denied any wrongdoing. Netanyahu will also speak at the annual Pro-Israel Policy Conference here in Washington, hosted by the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. He'll be following speeches by Vice President Mike Pence and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley Monday night.
The UN's bias against Israel has long undermined peace by encouraging an illusion that Israel will just simply go away. Israel's not going away.
The United States of America will never compromise the safety and security of the Jewish state of Israel.
And again, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is set to speak here in D.C. tonight as plans move forward with a temporary U.S. embassy that President Trump said had a potential $1 billion price tag that he says he cut down to $250,000. A pretty big savings as we now wait to hear the details. Ben Kennedy, CBN News, Washington.
Thank you, Ben. Well, cybersecurity has become so important in business that companies now consider it when they're looking at buying other businesses. The Wall Street Journal reports that businesses are focusing on cybersecurity issues, including software code and customer information. And security problems could kill potential business deals. Pat, as you know, several companies have suffered from well-known hacks in recent years.
It's been unbelievable what's been hacked. The United States Defense Department, Target, various other keepers of vital information, banking and stock brokerage, they've all been subject to hacks. And the hacks have come primarily from Russia, from China. Some are state-sponsored, some are individual. But now the companies are saying, before we can buy a company, we want to see if they've been hacked and how vulnerable their customer lists and their internal operations are. And guess what? There's one university in the United States that's offering courses now in cybersecurity. Regent University has educate your executive team. You can train your security operations in your business. And we're offering, we can train people to be cyber specialists as well as have a master's degree or a doctorate in cybersecurity. And we have a cyber range that is the absolute state of the art, and as far as I can tell, is the most sophisticated at any university in the United States. And so there is a team right now working on the cyber range, learning how to counter a cyber attack. It's an excellent opportunity. So keep that in mind. And Regent University, for your education, here's the number: 1-866-910-7615. Regent University School of Cyber. Isn't that interesting?
Boy, never more needed.
Well, the Lord put us in this place. This is a unique situation, and we have what I think is the most sophisticated cyber range at any university in the United States.
I would imagine you'd get quite a response to that.
Well, it's coming already. We're getting people from all over the country. I mean, I'm talking about the Defense Department, the FBI, and major industries would like to see their leaders, their C-suite, trained in cybersecurity.